It's a windy day in Kingston City. Woo! Morning, y'all. I'm finally back from holiday, and so I'm just going to go do some things that I left before I went, and then I'm going to do some of the things around the lab. So I'm going to finally start the solid phase cultivation of the lion's mane. I think there's something in my eye. I'm not sure. My hands are clean. I just washed them. I don't know if it's an eyelash, but yeah. So that is finally growing it, putting it from the liquid, the broth culture. There are chunks of the fungus growing, and then I'm going to put it in the grain. So if you remember, I had grown them. I'd sterilized grain for it to grow on, and then I'd collected some wood chip. So I'm going to, on the sterile conditions, put this in that. Ugh. Then pour this into it. Massage it. Let it grow. Keep it in the BSC. Let it grow. Remember, this has that filter. Then I'm going to pull that off so it can breathe. And then look at these babies. Look at the mycelium. This I'll scrape and measure. I'm going to use the BSC. So what I'm going to do now is clear it and prepare it so it will be sterilized using 70% ethanol, and then I'll just do a secondary UV, get it going so that when I need to work in there it's clean. So let's do that. I'm putting gloves on, clearing the BSC, removing all the tools, then mist it down with 70% ethanol, and then use paper towel to wipe from the back to the front in one motion. Then I let it stabilize, that is sterilized in, and then BSC has been sterilized in for about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is lift this up to the sash, spray all the things that I'm putting into it with 70% ethanol, and then slowly load them in to set up my workstation. Because the BSC has been decontaminated, so now I have to decontaminate the tools I'm putting in. That is using 70% ethanol. Doing it in a slow motion so as not to disrupt the airflow. And I'm right hand dominant, so I work from right to left. So that's what you see me doing here. And then once that's done, I get the things that I need, like the plates, etc. I am just taking a piece of the culture that has the lion's mane hyphae. So the white fluffy one, I'm going to take a piece of it, scrape it off, put it in my jar before transferring whatever is left on the plate onto a new plate so that I can keep the colony or the population growing. I actually don't know where that plate ended up being incubated, so I need to look for it. So I use a sterile scalpel and scrape the surface gently. I really was expecting it to be more than that, and it's not a lot that I got. So next time I'll just have to ensure that I either plate way more, so have maybe 5 plates, or use a larger plate so that I can get more. And again, when you're working as part of the aseptic technique, there's a lot of sterilization. This is the grain that was autoclaved, and I was struggling to remove the autoclave tape because I had several on it and it had allowed to be dry. But once I've gotten that open, I will start adding some of the sterile wood chip that I picked up, and that was a struggle to open as well. I thought I'd just applied it loosely, and as you can see, the jar is sort of pressurized, so it has changed its shape. Some of the wood chip ended up having the plastic from the cover on it. So I'm just going through to remove those pieces that have plastic and then put the ones free from plastic into the bag with the grain, because the grain and wood chip will serve as the solid surface on which the mycelia of the lion's mane should grow. It's a very careful selection, and because quite a bit of it, I think the ones really at the top definitely had some of the plastic cover that got glued onto it from the high pressure and the heat in the autoclave. And I didn't want the fungus to feed on the plastic or use the plastic. Actually, I don't know if it can use the plastic as a growth medium, but I didn't want that to be the case. And so I shake it up to sort of mix it together. And I think I added half of the wood chip, and something else, a whole section of the cover got, yeah, look, crystallized. And so I was able to take that entire portion out. I was not expecting that to happen. And I'm just glad that I didn't accidentally drop it in the bag with the grain, because that would be a no-go. Because the lid and actually the base of the container had lost its shape during the sterilization process because it's under pressure at high temperature, I was having a really hard time putting back the cover on, because I intended to perhaps use the wood chips again, so I didn't want them to become contaminated. I just swirled the bottle that contained the soup, so that's the soup with the pieces of the lion's mane growing in it. I'm hoping it's lion's mane actually, because I've never grown it before, so I'm hoping that's what's growing in it. And I'm just getting everything to be mixed up really well. And once I've done that, I will then pour that into the bag, so the plastic bag that contains the wood chip and the grain. You pour it in, you massage it, and I don't know if it should be that liquidy, because I can't tell when last I've done a grain cultivation or solid phase cultivation. So I don't remember what it is supposed to look like, but I was sort of freaking out because it had a lot of liquid. And I was wondering, oh my God, is it going to absorb it so that the mycelium can grow? But we'll have to see when I come back in a few days to take observation. I was struggling to take off the filter. I forgot that it wasn't like an easy ripped off, unless I am not doing it properly, but it wasn't coming off easily as I was expecting it. It should be just a thin layer, and just gently pull that off and you have the filter. I had to end up using the scalpel, just a knife, and I think I also ended up tearing the bag, which wasn't good. Even though I'm going to incubate it in the BSC, which is a sterile environment, I might end up introducing contamination. I'm not sure. But I did end up ripping the filter, and that was the only bag I had sterilized. Usually I would have sterilized extra for something like this, but because I was just running this for the first time, I thought that one bag is fine. And yeah, I couldn't get it to open, which was a bit annoying. And so I think finally I just tore it. The bag got torn. I couldn't even seal it or put a twist tie on it below the bottom of it, but it is what it is. I will let it incubate again in the BSC for a few days, and each time I'm in, I'll try to give it a massage just so that there's enough surface area for the lion's mane to grow on, and hopefully we'll have growth. That's really what I'm interested in. This is what the lion's mane look like after I've added the broth culture into the bag. You can see the wood chip is moist. Okay, I know a lot of people don't like the word moist, but you can see that it's wet, it's shiny, the green. I don't know. That's a lot of liquid, so I'm not sure, but hopefully it works. And then add the whatever was left. Oh, well, we'll see. Yikes. All of that mycelium on the plate yielded this, not even a gram. But it's what it is. Let us see. If I have some brain action,